First off, let me thank all of you that answered the questions that I posed on Saturday, the 12 questions about John Cena. And a reminder again, I'll be doing this every Saturday, asking you a new set of 12 questions about some wrestling topic, and then giving you the platform to give me your answers. And then every Tuesday, I'll be doing a follow-up video about your answers, what your answers were, and what my thoughts are on them as well. So again, lots of feedback on this one, which wasn't surprising because I specifically waited until Saturday for a specific reason to do the John Cena one, because I figured it was going to get a big response, and it seems to have done that. So let me share your kind of common answers or the common themes for these 12 questions about John Cena. Number one, the question was, are you currently a John Cena fan? This was a very, very resounding no. I think there were only a few people that even had the courage to say that they were a John Cena fan. Number two, have you ever been a John Cena fan? There were many of you that said you were back in his Thugonomics days. A lot of you that talked about how you grew out of him as you became teenagers, what makes me feel kind of old. A lot of you said you stopped being a fan of his somewhere in the 2006 to 2008 or 9 time frame. I think that's when reality started to really set in. His character didn't change, and you knew what was going to happen. So I wasn't that surprised with those answers. Number three, what do you like about John Cena? Some people commented on his work ethic, and obviously he is a guy that works tremendously hard and has for a long period of time, and he puts in the grunt work. There's no question about it. You also praised him for his charity work, and hey, if you were straining for things to talk about, at least you had something, I guess, at least somewhat positive to talk about. Number four was, what don't you like about John Cena? And then number five was, why does the internet hate John Cena? And these kind of blended together. It was very much a common theme of the fact that his character hasn't changed in almost a decade. You're talking about the way that he's booked, the Super Cena booking, the fact that he's unrelatable as a character. He's always forced down your throat. He always wins. He seems to beat some of your favorites. It wasn't that surprising to me that those were going to be some of the common answers. Number six, does John Cena, deserve the hate that he gets? Most of you said yes, but with a qualifier like yes to only a certain degree, not a complete total hate. Some of you suggested that maybe it's just cool to hate him, and that's why so many people do hate him. A lot of you said, he's partially to blame, but he's not fully to blame. And I kind of side with that one a little bit. Number seven, can John Cena actually wrestle? A common theme here was that I thought more people were going to say flat out no. Actually, a lot of people said yes with a qualifier, yes with the right person, or yes with the right situation, or yes with the right guy, yes with the proper ring general. Number eight, does John Cena bury or elevate new or young talent? And the dominant answer here, which I kind of expected, was that he buries them. Number nine, how can WWE get more fans to cheer for John Cena? It was very interesting. A lot of comments were talking about turning him heel. Well, one, as I've talked about in a previous video, John Cena already is heel from a fundamental standpoint of the type of crowd reaction that he gets. And the way they book him, he comes across as a heel. So turning him heel would actually turn him face. And you know what? As stupid as it fucking sounds, it probably would make sense. I don't know if you really can turn him heel at this point, nor do I think it is necessary or required. A lot of you commented that he needs some type of character change. For God's sakes, even his theme music, because he has pretty much been the same guy for over a decade now. Number 10, is John Cena really that important to the WWE? A lot of you said yes. A lot of you said no. It was an interesting kind of divergence of answers there, which I kind of expected. Number 11, what would happen to WWE, if John Cena had to retire tomorrow? A lot of you thought that it was going to be a short-term problem for a WWE, but long-term it might not be so much. Some of you thought it would be a long-term disaster. Some of you said there's no disaster at all. It'd be the best thing that could happen to him. And number 12, the last one, would you be okay with John Cena winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Money in the Bank? A lot of you said ultimately yes with a qualifier. Yes, if it means that he drops it to somebody else at SummerSlam, meaning like a Brock Lesnar. Plenty of you just sat there and said, no, regardless, fuck that shit. We don't want this guy to win the title. Now, here's my thoughts on it. Am I currently a Cena fan? Well, God, no. Have I ever been? Yes. His Thugonomic heels days from 2003, 2004, maybe even to 2005, he was turning face. I still thought he was a pretty cool character. After that, no more. What do I like about him? I like his work ethic. I like the fact that he is able to go into some adverse environments and still perform I wish he would show that it bothers him more, but at the same point in time, there are certain performers, certain wrestlers that would flip, that would, really lose themselves, and he tends to stay calm and cool, and I respect that. I like his charity work, even if it has a reeking of WWE self-promotion. The fact is he does a lot of good things for Make-A-Wish and other charities, and I respect that. I believe that people in those type of positions do have a responsibility to their fellow man to be of a philanthropic mindset, and I applaud him and I respect him for that. In terms of what I don't like about John Cena, it's his character. And it's not just so much the fact that he wins all the time, even though he fucking does win all the time. It's the fact that his character doesn't change. For God's sakes, I would legitimately mark out and pop like I haven't popped in a long time if John Cena's fucking theme music changed. He's been using the same damn theme for how many freaking years? He's always presented the same. It's always done the same. The storyline arcs of every feud that he's in always follow a very similar path. It's too much of the same for far too long, and after a while, especially in our short-term attention span society of today, it just gets to be too much. Why does the internet hate John Cena? Well, I think there's several reasons. Same character. Resenting the fact that the guy's booked the way that he fucking is. It's not just the fact that he's a babyface. It's the fact that he steamrolls over everybody. There's no real reason to get emotionally invested in him because he never has any real major obstacles to overcome. See, the Bray Wyatt feud is a perfect example. Sometimes maybe it's one of those things where he's the cool thing to hate, yes, so everybody likes to hate on him, but it's not like there aren't valid reasons for that either. Does he totally deserve the blame? No. Does WWE need to share in that blame too? Yes. And is it a problem? Well, yes. I mean, for God's sakes, this guy's been on the top of the company longer than Hulk Hogan was. And he hasn't changed his character one bit. If Hogan didn't change his character one bit in the 80s and early 90s, that was an entirely different time. Cena's been the same fucking guy for the same number of years, and it's ridiculous. And I also don't like the fact that when I see John Cena, I think some other people have referenced this, the fact that you feel like he is overtly trying to sell you merch instead of trying to draw asses to seats and sell you on his storyline. And wow, recently he's been holding up this fucking towel. This is stupid. You got enough merch. Stop hawking your shit like this. This is ridiculous. And this isn't being done in a corny, funny DX McFoley type of rock type of way. This is just being done in a ridiculously corny, childish, crappy WWE PG John Cena type of way. Number 7, can John Cena actually wrestle? He has more than 5 moves of doom. He's had some good matches. My biggest problem with John Cena is I do think he's a terrible storyteller. I really do. The piecing together of his matches, I think sometimes is absolutely atrocious. And so many times I'm trying to figure out what the story is being told in the match, and there is no story to be told. This whole thing of he does this and he gets beat down, and then all of a sudden, magically, it's like nothing ever fucking happened. There's not even any setup to it. There's not even any build up to it. Just a lot of things that are really off about it. The fact that he's a powerhouse type of guy and his primary finisher has become the STFU, which you can't even apply properly. There are times where he can wrestle, sure, but after all these years, at 37 years of age, a decade at the fucking top, I would have thought he'd be better than what he actually is. I do applaud him sometimes for trying to go outside of the 5 moves of doom and doing something like a Cena Karana, even if it doesn't come across very well. Does he bury or elevate new or young talent? He elevates them and then he buries them. He elevates them because he'll take people that were below him and bring them up to his level to feud with him. And then because of him and because of the WWE and a lot of different forces, those young talents end up getting buried. Basically, if you're a younger or newer face, up-and-coming talent in the WWE, until you are clearly established, you want no fucking part of a John Cena feud. Because, yes, you will be elevated in the short term for 2 to 3 months, and then look out below on the other side what happens on the mountaintop afterwards. You go rocketing back down to the bottom. So, like I said, kind of elevates, and then he buries. And number 9, how could WWE get more fans to cheer him? First thing is send him away for 4 to 6 months. Like, completely go away. Completely give him a break. Give the WWE a break. Give the fans a break. Give everybody a break from everybody when it comes to this fucking guy. 4 to 6 months, just him gone. Him gone. He could still do appearances. He could still do this. But in terms of on-screen, gone. We need a break. He needs a break. WWE needs a break. Everybody needs a break. And then in terms of his booking, actually doing it in a way where he has real legitimate obstacles to overcome. He occasionally doesn't come out the better end of a fucking feud at this point. You know, because again, what would be so bad about that? It sets it up better for down the road where he could come back and say, well, he feuded with, let's say, you sent him at a Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns got the better of him the first time around. You know, you come back a year or two later, John Cena could still feud with Roman Reigns, and now you actually have some doubt of whether Cena can beat Reigns or not. You know, they don't do a good enough job, in my opinion, of making Cena feel human. And they're not making him feel like a comic book character either. It's just ridiculous, and it's kind of stupid. I mean, you could start calling him Super Cena, the Cena Christ, you know, whatever the fuck you want to call him. It's getting to that point. He needs to change his character too. He needs to stop being just about moving merch, and you need to change his damn theme music. You need to change the way he's presented. Just a lot of different things, but small things that could be done in a way to really revitalize the character and add some legs to it and add some positive years to it. On number 10, is John Cena really that important to the WWE? I don't think he is. I think a lot of people believe that he is, and I understand that. I believe that the WWE believes that he is, and I understand that too because they have put all their eggs into that basket. But here's my thing. When you talk about going to, let's say, a regular live show or even a TV taping like a Raw or a SmackDown, you're not going to see individual A and individual B. It's the name of WWE that ultimately draws you or doesn't draw you. And I think that's the way it's been for years. And my thing is that it's still the brand name that draws, not the individual performers. And when it comes to Cena, you have no measurement, really. You have no other choice. You have no other option and no other measuring stick because Cena's been that guy for 9, almost 10 freaking years. You have no basis of comparison. So how the fuck do you know? You don't. But I don't really think he's that important to WWE. I really, truly don't. Short term, will they take a hit in terms of merchandise sales? Perhaps. Perhaps. But then imagine if they took those resources and split them up into 8 or 10 other guys, how much more they could make overall instead of putting them all into one basket. I think if anything, he's not that important at all, and he becomes more of a hindrance than a help, hence why I talk about the John Cena problem. Number 11, what would happen to WWE if John Cena had to retire tomorrow? Initial panic, and then shit. They'd have to figure out something else. They'd have to go in a new direction. They would have to focus on new stars. They would have no choice. And that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing for the WWE. It might seem like it on the short term, and they might have some financial issues on the short term. But long term, I don't think it would be as bad as they think. And would you be okay with John Cena winning at Money in the Bank? And my answer is very simple. No! I love the defense mechanism that so many people have put up saying, you know, I'm okay with it as long as. I'm okay with it if he loses it too. Well, why? I caution you this. Be careful of what you wish for because you just might get it. Okay, let's say you go Cena, Lesnar, SummerSlam. Lesnar wins the belt. Okay, so you're rooting for the guy that ended the fucking streak at WrestleMania 30. Seems to be a bit of miss here, doesn't it? And then keep in mind that Cena always, pretty much always gets the better end of the feud whenever possible. Whenever possible. And you look at Lesnar. He's not going to be a long-term champion, is he? I wouldn't think so. So then you'd have to have some type of rubber match. John Cena would get a rematch as a former champion. You know, now you get to the big rubber match, let's say, at Night of Champions. And then Cena wins there and he becomes a 16-time world champion. And then what the fuck was the whole point? Then you're right back to square one again. So no, I'm not okay with fucking John Cena winning the title. Now, I know someday they're going to be obsessed with putting him at 17. He's probably going to get into the 20s. If that's what they choose to do, it's their company, it's their business. But I just didn't think that the timing was right now to do it. I thought there were too many other options that I talked about and how I would book Money in the Bank 2014. There were too many options of what they could do that would be better and fresher and set the table better for several months to come. I would have been okay with Cena at some point in time winning the strap if you determined that the best match for you was, let's say, a Cena and Roman Reigns, at WrestleMania 31 for the title. Then I'd have to be okay with it at some point in time. But at this point in time here, I don't see where him dropping the strap to Lesnar is any fucking good. Where him dropping the strap, let's say, to a Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31 could potentially do a lot of good for the company for a lot of different reasons. So no, I wasn't okay with it. Thanks again to all of you that participated. Coming up again Saturday, I'll be asking you 12 questions about another wrestling-related topic. So make sure you keep your eye out for that video and check out the other videos here on OTRS Central.